Hey y'all, real quick, I just wanted to come on and encourage you. Listen, I want to help you out real quick, okay? Cuz and this I hope is going to give you some encouragement to not only continue to go after what God is telling you to do, but to stand in who God called you to be. Here's the thing. See, that I want to say in regard to David. You know who David was, right? In the Bible. And one of the things that I was just talking to someone about is the fact that not only was he rejected by his family in a sense that he wasn't considered to be someone who would be the anointed one, right? Because we all know when the prophet came to anoint the new king, when God told the prophet to go to David's father and ask him to bring his sons in so that the next king could be anointed, the oil did not fall on any of the other sons. And the father hesitated to let the prophet know that he had another son, which was David, who was in the field with the sheep. Okay? So David was rejected by his family. Stay with me now. I'm going somewhere with this, okay? Not only that, but when David became Saul's, so to speak, right hand, and we all know by that point he was already anointed to be the next king. And Saul knew this. And so he did everything he could possibly do to not only reject David, but to also, make David's life a living hell while David was sort of his apprentice, so to speak, right? And David dealt with so much rejection and so much hatred towards him, okay? I mean, he went through a lot. But he was already called and anointed. Stay with me, okay? So even to the point where Saul went after him so hard, to the point where David had to go into the cave to hide from Saul, okay? Because Saul was trying to kill him out, okay? Because Saul knew that David was the next chosen king. And of course, Saul, being the arrogant person that he was, and arrogancy is not the strongest word I could use, but being the arrogant person that he was, wanted to maintain the throne as long as he possibly could. So he was going to try to take David out, even though God had already anointed David and called David to be the next king. I want to come on and encourage you today, because there are some of you out there that are dealing with rejection, and it's not just coming from one place. It's coming from multiple places, just like David dealt with rejection that came from multiple places, even though it was already spoken. Oh my God, it was already spoken by God that he was the called and anointed one. Whew. Okay, so y'all remember though that he defeated Goliath. Now, I'm not going to go into the David and Goliath story, because we all know that most people reference the size of Goliath versus David's size. But the thing is that David was already anointed and called. Y'all, listen. Okay. So I came to encourage you real quick, okay? Those of you that are called, those of you that are anointed, those of you that God placed a calling on your life, and you're dealing with a lot of rejection, okay? Or you're dealing with a lot of, things like people rejecting you or not being accepted by people, okay? I want you to understand that whole thing that you're going through, what you're feeling rejected, feeling thrown away, feeling like people are discarding you as if you don't matter. I want you to understand that unfortunately and fortunately, that is part of the process that you have to go through. See, in order for you to become the anointed person that God has already called you to be from the beginning of time, You have to go through several crushing processes for the oil to be pulled out of you. Okay? So when you're anointed, those crushing situations, those trials and tribulations that you're going through are there to make you become the anointed person that you're called to be. See, the anointing doesn't come just by nothing. Every person that is anointed has to pay a price, has to go through something for the anointing to come out. Whatever it is you're called to do, for the anointing to come out of you. Y'all, I hope that you're following along, because this is the thing. And I want to encourage you, because you're going through the crushing, what I call the crushing process, because this is the time that God is making you into what he has called you to be, which is the anointed one. I want you to understand that part of the process of you becoming anointed by God, becoming into the place of where you are walking in your calling and the anointing that God's placed on your life, you will go through rejection. You will go through people rejecting you. You will go through situations where it seems totally unfair, but it crushes you. You will go through a lot of things in order to become that anointed at the level that God is calling you to be. Okay? But I want to encourage you, because we all know that David was a man after God's heart. And he was a chosen one. We all know that. But he went through some crushing times and situations. Psalms will tell you the story of the crushing that he went through, and the prayers and the psalms that he wrote to God, asking God for protection and asking God to cover him and things of that nature, right? But you also have to remember that not only was David called and anointed, but David is part of Jesus's lineage. Okay? So, hang in there. I want to come on and encourage you and remind you that you're going through this. It's temporary, first of all. Hang in there, because this is what God is allowing you to go through in order for you to obtain the blessing of the level of the area that you're called to, being anointed. Okay? So, don't give up. I came to encourage you to hold on and hang in there. God is going to bring you through whatever it is you're going through right now, because this is your crushing process. You got to go through this in order for you to get to that next place that God is taking you to, in order for you to start walking in your calling at the level of fullness and anointing that you're supposed to be walking in it. Okay? So I wanted to come on and encourage you, remind you of that, and talk about David a little bit, to help you understand that you're not the only one that is going through or has gone through in order to get to this place with God. You're called. This is why it's happening to you. Keep your peace and go through it with grace, because this is part of your making, part of what God is doing to get that oil and that anointing out of you for where he's taking you to. All right. I just wanted to come on and tell you that, okay? Now, you be encouraged. All right? Okay. I love y'all. Y'all know I love you. Now, you go out and make it a great day on purpose, and don't you go mess up nobody else's day. But this that you're going through is not going to kill you. You're going through it because these are things you need to go through, because this is where God is taking you to the next level, and this is the anointing, the crushing time for the oil to come out of you, so that you can become the anointed person that God's calling you to be. Okay? All right. All right. I love y'all. Like I said, y'all know I love you. Now, you go out and make it a great day on purpose, and don't you go mess up nobody else's day. Okay? All right. I love y'all. Okay. Bye.